Hello everyone, welcome to Fit Northeast, and I'm your host for today. I'm Sukalpa Das, and I'm a fitness coach. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, which is like a continuation of the last session that we already had. It is about mindful talks. So we will be very soon be joining uh, Mrs. Atifa Deshamukhya. She's a relationship expert and she'll be joining us real soon. So just keep holding up. Just a few more minutes. And as we wait for Mrs. Deshamukhya to join us, till then, let me wish all the audience a very happy Mother's Day. Today is a very special day, and mother, the feeling is so very dear to everybody's heart. I'm very sure this is like a big celebration that we are going to have in each and every family today. We might be waiting for a few more minutes, a little bit more longer. So let me tell you about myself. I'm a fitness coach. Constantly, and as a fitness coach, we have been constantly facing a lot of problems, a lot of questions when it comes to mental health. Uh, as we all know, fitness is not just related to physical training. It is about de-stressing yourself. It's about calming your mind down while you're working out because it actually affects it as a mind muscle connection. And most of the times what happens, the family arguments or the disturbances that we have in our families sometimes come over during the workout periods, and during those times it becomes really scary. So I'm sure this mindful talks currently is going to help us a lot once we understand the entire concept between saving our relationship with our spouses, with our other family members, the small little steps that we can do that Mrs. Deshamukhya is going to guide us on. I think that's going to be really helpful. We're waiting for her to come in. As we wait, I am welcoming our audience, whoever is present here, to send in any comments or suggestions or any questions that they would like me to discuss with Mrs. Atifa Deshamukhya during this entire session. And those of our viewers who have been already joining us from the last session, they can also come up with new questions. Ma'am is already here, so I'm adding ma'am here. So we are going to add ma'am right now. As we are adding ma'am, let us just talk about this entire corona pandemic that is happening. It's really taken a toll on the entire population of the world. It's affecting us not only physically, but also mentally. Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of Mindful Talks from Fit Northeast. And
Thank
as
you.
I'm just talking to our audience here, that this pandemic has taken a toll on everybody's mind and body, and it is really difficult to adjust during these times. So as I was talking about that, you joined in, and I'm sure you're going to enlighten us more about this. But before that, how are you, ma'am?
Well, I'm doing great. And as you can see, being in a relationship in the Indian context, we have our markers. I'm wearing a red bindi to announce my relationship status. And yes, my marriage is doing fine. I hope everybody's marriages and relationships be they live in or be they whichever kind, are doing great. And I hope I can help with some advice.
I'm sure the audience will find all your suggestions really, really helpful. And yes, my marriage is doing good. So yeah, I'm in that blessed
Great.
population currently. So let me again tell you about Mrs. Atifa Deshamukhia ma'am. She's a relationship expert, and we let us start off with a very, very important topic right now. Ma'am, it has been seen during this entire pandemic, the corona pandemic situation, most of the couples which we have always thought as the happy couples or the couples who are the examples of the most compatible relationship, they are now feeling a lot more stuck in their marriages. They are currently they are currently not compatible, if you ask me. So what about, does this entire pandemic, the entire year-long lockdown has taken them to this episode where now they feel stuck with their spouses? Is it after the lockdown that they are feeling so, or is was this the entire thing beforehand?
Well, very pertinent question there. I'm sure many people have this question, and it has been described as the worst kind of storm that can hit a couple, in more ways than one. Because as I say this, I do not want to detract from the seriousness of the situation. Like the word stuck that you have used, it is so powerful. Like those people who are really stuck can feel it, and can, they're like kind of trapped in a situation which is far from congenial to their mental health and sometimes even physical health. You see, yes, the pandemic has done a lot of damage to relationships, in the sense that, the weaker ones, or where there were already some points of disagreement and incompatibility, they have taken, the worst hit. And of course the stronger ones are, managing and devising new ways, reinventing themselves. But yes, it is a really tough time for most relationships, and yes,
Yes,
the pandemic is
really realizing the situation now, and some are going to it very slowly.
right.
Sometimes initial phase we just think it's just that we are just fighting among each other all the time, but then most of the times it's like this fight leads to more fight and then again more fight, so they are actually feeling stuck up. So what is your suggestion? How do we eradicate that?
Right. So talking about the fights, taking it first from there, you say it is an escalation of issues. And some things that we tended to ignore otherwise because of different routines. That routines being different was a big kind of barrier and a shield protecting us from each other, as it were. But now there is, no different schedules. You are stuck, as you have already mentioned. And so that fight doesn't seem to end, it seems to linger on and on. And whatever is left over from the previous conflict, merges with the next new one. And yes, the snowballing effect comes into play, and things become bigger and bigger, and it's like a volcano about ready to burst. So it is really, that is how the situation is turning out.
Yes, ma'am. Now,
Uh,
that thought actually leads me to the very first question for today's session. Nowadays, a very common term of lockdown split is coming into the picture. Is this lockdown split a real-time scenario? Like, what does the stats say about it?
Right. So, as we have said in the earlier part of the conversation, yeah, the problems are escalating and it is translating into higher figures of divorce, or even inquiries about divorce, or even, inquiries about how to, lead separate lives, those kind of inquiries. So different stats reveal not only on an international scale, which is more understandable and which is more relatable, but even in India, the numbers shooting up. You see, if I have to give an example of India first, then talking about a report published in the Times of India January this year, legal firm in Bangalore mentioned that these family court divorce proceedings have gone up 30%,
Oh,
since the pandemic. And there are too many cases, and in some places there are, questions of whether, more courts need to come into play to handle the situation. So it is not only confined to more liberated countries, it is also percolating to the Indian population. And talking about other countries, yes, China was the first to feel the impact, basically because, China, the virus hit first for whatever reason, and we are left guessing about the reasons, isn't it? So in China, what happened is, moment those very tough restrictions were lifted up, the divorce courts were flooded with more, newer applications, and also the inquiries about how to proceed with divorce. So also Sweden has reported higher cases, and UK and USA. All of these countries figure highly in the list of stats available, where it is mentioned that the divorce rates are really peaking at this time. And it is also interesting to note that in those Western countries, contrary to the 60% of women who used to initiate divorce, now it is a whopping 76% of women doing it. And
oh,
experts have mentioned that, women are being overburdened with too many things, like, homeschooling is there, and then the spouse is not understanding the whole home management along with work from home. That is taking a toll, and yes, the stats reveal a grim picture, and we must prepare for it accordingly.
absolutely, ma'am. Now that you're talking about this work from home affecting the already home lifestyle and every burden on a female, I think that's a real good point. I'm sure this countries like Sweden and UK and US, they have so much of opening in the social stature that the women are actually coming forward to file a divorce. But then in a country like ours, India, where women generally love to live in an atmosphere where they feel safe with their family, with their spouses, with their children, with their in-laws around them, for some of the women, I'm sure they will find it even more difficult now to even come forward and speak out their heart, which is again going to affect them mentally later on.
Absolutely.
What do you say about
Yes.
that?
Yes, and even not only in India, even in the immigrant population abroad, in spite of having a, atmosphere where women can really come out with their issues and find support in society for whatever problems they are facing, still the figures reveal that the immigrant population is hesitant to, file for divorce in case a relationship is not working, because a relationship not working sometimes needs to go through with the divorce proceedings, because it might be a serious case of domestic abuse, for example. So in that case it becomes important that the woman actually come out and speak and get rid of the abuser. But in the immigrant population also, they are very hesitant. And not to speak of India, here our social structure is so tightly woven that, the women are supposed to manage with whatever they have, and there's this pressure. And you also mentioned in-laws. You see, in-laws have also been contributing factor to this falling out between couples. And this in-law pressure is more with women, as is understandable in the Indian context, because the bahus, the daughters-in-law, who used to have the respite from some tortuous woman who is not an ideal mother-in-law. Normally, we would hope to have mothers in the place of mother-in-law, and many of us are blessed with it. But some
Yes.
women really become demonic, when they take on the role of the mother-in-law, they tend to torture the daughter-in-law, or, in-laws in general. So they do
In
create a divisive force.
generation to generation, probably because our if say for example, I'm giving an example of a mother-in-law who is for that nature, not really that great with their daughter-in-law. But then those females, I feel they themselves were tortured when they were daughter-in-law. So it comes down from generation to generation, and
Absolutely.
finally it comes to the newest daughter-in-law. So I feel education again here plays an important role, because once you're educated, you literally come forward with the new picture. You understand what the new lifestyle is all about, working from home and managing kids while online classes, doing this, reviving your own skills again through online or offline. I mean, once you're educated enough, you understand the pain that the other generation is going, the next generation is going through. Again,
Absolutely. So
I want to.
education is not only the academic, isn't it? Because awareness, the education creates the awareness, and people like say you or me, we are together on the forum, or our viewers who are participating in such a discussion, we are aware that such issues exist and we have to battle them. Contrary to people who are not aware, so the people who are unconscious, who are not mindful, who are not serious about questions of life, they are the people who say, Ki, Acha, I got this, so I'm giving it back. My mom-in-law was bad, so I'm going to be a bad, mom-in-law myself.
Realize it that they are harming the other person. They are
They
just
are
doing.
not mindful, and they are placing wrong, the causality factor. What is the cause and effect? They are just attributing it very wrongly. And so that lack of awareness is responsible for this kind of, petering effect, this kind of, snowballing effect. However, with people being aware, like Ronit here, I see Parinita, you, me, Varnika, and so many other viewers we have with us today.
Come up with a beautiful question, ma'am. He's saying it is
Yeah.
not surprising that boredom is causing a lot of strain on relationship. Is novelty is one of the key components to a good relation.
Wow, Ronit, you have it spot on. Of course, novelty is important for everything, isn't it? Even suppose you're eating food, you won't be eating the same food every day, every meal. So novelty is an important part of life. We tend to forget that in relationships. And that brings about the, stagnation of everything, including relationships. And now, especially in pandemic time, we must be doing things to, devising novel ways of dealing with the situation. And so I would suggest, go and explore new hobbies and go and explore new sides of each other that you never knew. And of course, do inject novelty.
Absolutely. Here again, I would like to invite all our viewers to try and send us more comments on this session that we are having with our couple relationship expert, Mrs. Atifa Deshamukhya. Sorry, Mrs. Atifa Deshamukhya. And because this session is actually going to a beautiful conversations here, we are actually moving on to day-to-day life problems and how to solve it. I invite all our viewers, all our audiences to share in more comments so that it encourages us furthermore. So here again, ma'am, let me put my next question. It's like we hear a lot about me time. Okay, he's not giving me more me time, or she's not giving me more me time. So do you think this me time has been overrated too much?
Me time is something very important for our mental wellness. So we may or may not realize it, we may or may not act upon it, but if we are depriving ourselves of that me time, that means we will not be able to replenish our wholeness, our goodness, and we will just run empty and dry, giving, 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 always with the we, never with the me. So it is very important. It is not overrated, although, as I like to say, everything to the carried to extreme is, its own. It's antithesis. Anything carried to extreme, like me time, also should not be carried to extreme. We should be in the golden mean. But now, having said that, the me time in the pandemic brings up questions like, when I tell my husband that leave me alone, or give me some space, or at least let me sit alone for a while, is it selfish? Is it hurtful? Will my husband get, or will my wife get upset with me if I say that? Or suppose my wife is clinging with me all the time, or my partner is clinging all the time. Do I have the liberty to tell her, please let me be alone for a while? Is that okay? That is actually okay. And there are ways to make it okay if your partner does not realize it. What is
I
the
think
way?
for
The
you,
way
articulate
is,
the whole me time actually means a lot to your spouse. The way, if you articulate it in a nice way, like, I'm just going to do this for myself, and either you can participate or you can just give me some time to finish this work so that I am like de-stressed. I think the way we
right.
articulate.
But I like to come in here. See, participate and shared activities are fine. That is part of the we time. But at this moment, we're talking about something done completely alone and which is necessary. Okay. So there, the way to do it is actually by scheduling. Now, when we make, we've always heard about the importance of routine and discipline. Without routine discipline, nothing great has ever been achieved. So also, if you schedule, for example, you like to go for a walk by yourself after dinner, say, okay? So that time you do not want your spouse around. Maybe you want to talk to your mom, or you want to catch up with your best friend over the phone, or whatever. That time you want it as your me time. So you can schedule it and just have a nice conversation, like you said. Put it very nicely. Say that, I need to make some phone calls. I need to be alone while making those phone calls. Of course, there has to be trust in the relationship, that you are not up to no good kind of things or affairs. So with the trust, you can make it clear that, yeah, I just need some time to make some calls, and just give me 10 minutes after dinner and I'll be back, or give me 20 minutes that time. So if you talk about your need and schedule it, then every time after dinner, it won't be a stress and a struggle to ask for that me time. Other
Absolutely.
people will also participate, not only your spouse, other people in the family will also participate with that need. They will understand, okay, mama, or, my daughter-in-law or whoever needs to go out for the walk at this time, and it is her exercise time, or it is her phone call time. So they will also slowly get into the mold, and every day doesn't become an, struggle. So schedule it and take it. That is important.
That is so true, ma'am. And the again, I think again, when we talk about relationships and me time and we time, we have been coming around with so many couples who have been living together for, say, decades, if not just 5, 6, 7 years, and so all of a sudden they are feeling very stuck. They Is it because of the lockdown that they're feeling so stuck, and is it why they are feeling so difficult to live around each other?
Yeah, because it has robbed us of our separate schedules, as we have mentioned. That is one major reason. But
Yes.
let me just bring in another point in parenthesis, or in brackets, as it were, that it is not only the long-term couples, it is also newlyweds who are facing this frustration and sometimes giving up on marriage. You know why? Because all those, impressions of newly wedded bliss, like we had created some pictures, no, even of honeymoon, for example. I personally
That
always like to do pre-marriage counseling, that, we go into marriage with so many, so many expectations, which are, created by the movies and created by the media, which are not true. So these, even the newlywed couples during the pandemic now are saying, oh, there's such a big gap between what I imagined and what is the reality. So they find it also difficult to, cope with the dreariness. And some, daredevil kinds, they're thinking of separating even newly into the relationship. But yes, about the long-term ones, say the couple has spent about 30 years together, 20 years together, then they would have weathered many storms together, many ups, many downs, many problems together. So they have kind of a bulwark, or they have kind of a support system already in place, to put into action during trouble times like this pandemic. So that is a general statement. But yes, the pressures do build up, and the couples who are into long-term relationships also face it. So it is one, the, disruption of the separate schedules and routines. Two, it is the lack of outlet. isn't it? Earlier we had so many places to go to. There are no more socializing, no more going out with different errands, and so lack of outlet is another very important thing. Thirdly, you see, it is also that now you can no longer pursue the separate hobbies, not only the socializing part. In socializing, the couple can be together and still mix with others. But prior to the pandemic, many couples had separate hobbies. For example, you might like, say, yoga, and you have your time, doing yoga and finding your own release, and your husband might be into, say, gaming. Okay, so those separate hobbies now clash because you are under the same roof, and one is not able to do what they were always trying to do. So yes, and then homeschooling is there, lack of domestic help. You see, now we are not using all of the domestic help that we used to use. So
Absolutely.
people are coming up, like the women who are not used to so much of housework are having to deal with it and asking their partners to participate. Now, the partners in the Indian context are not even used to that much of housework. Little thing, if you want your partner to share, okay, help me set the table, or help me, clear the table. That kind of thing he's not used to doing in the Indian context, especially. So, yes, all of these pressures are mounting.
Absolutely, ma'am. And here we have another question from Ronit. Ronit says, while many people were online dating before the pandemic, the ultimate goal has always been to meet in person. Now, with everything being virtual, that goal is no longer in place. And many singles wonder, what's the point of even trying? Now, dating
Okay,
online, probably, yeah, that's true.
yeah. So human touch, I'm not meaning it in a sexual way, but human connection is something that is wired into our beings. You see, even as a mother and son, it is not enough to, communicate over the phone. You want to go, you want to meet and hug, and you want to kiss, and you want to embrace, right? Any loved person. I don't only mean, lovers. So yes, that human contact we are being deprived of, that is genetically wired into our existence, that is such a big challenge. And so the dating world is getting drearier by the day. But now that we are getting used to virtual life, with all our office, everything happening online. So, online and virtual dating can be upgraded, and there are ways to do it. I think Ronit knows something about it already, but I'd like to suggest that, dressing up for each other, even virtually. You're meeting virtually, right? So, as single, you do not feel discouraged and distressed that, okay, there's no point, meetings. There's no point because I can't meet anybody, cannot carry this forward. Rather, carry on that courtship period. Maybe it is a blessing in disguise where you have more time to explore the other person. And instead of meeting physically, which is, of course, a need, as I just mentioned, that part, we can't help it. But while meeting virtually, dress up for each other, share some common item that you love, over, say, some dish that you love, and both of you have a plate of the same and relish it at the same time, watch a movie at the same time, do a lot of video calling, which is now not so very expensive. So it's not that there is no point. It's not that the pandemic is going to last forever and ever. Of course, after all the vaccination is done, we would be much more safer. Right. So use this time to get deeper into knowing somebody else. That is what I would say.
I'm sure Ronit has got his suggestion, your advice on this particular problem of his. And Ronit, all the best for your future dating, online dating, that is. And I'm sure your girl will also understand. So, ma'am, again, coming back to our older conversation about couples having difficulty during the pandemic. Ma'am, how do we turn the situation on its head and make the most of this particular situation?
Okay. So there are, you have to be very intentional about it. First, that I won't let this pandemic wreak havoc with my relationships. Yeah. First, in everything and in anything and everything, the intention is very important. When we set the intention, right and strongly at the very beginning, it makes a lot of impact on our actions. So firstly, intend that I won't let it wreak havoc on my relationships, and also remind yourself first and foremost that you are one of the lucky ones. In spite of the pandemic, you have a roof over your head, you have food on the table, and so many things to be grateful for in spite of the pandemic, and you are alive and well and flourishing and not diseased. So firstly, start there. And then there are many other factors also to keep in account, so that it does not really become issue that becomes too difficult to handle later on. Keep a check on your anxiety issues. Anxiety in these times is bound to be exaggerated, and some people particularly are more prone to anxiety. Okay, so you must include, like, this meditation advice is there everywhere, gratefulness exercise. It is not only for pandemic, for anything and everything, you have to start with intention, gratefulness. And now I'm talking about keeping your anxiety in check. For that also, mindfulness, meditation, that is so very important. You can schedule a time together. When you play some soothing music, have some nice, if not incense, at least some nice vaporizing tools and equipments, using, having nice fragrances around you, creating the ambience for some mindful soul searching and, quieting down so that the tensions don't escalate. You can also take steps like having definite distribution of work around the home, and that should be completely different from what used to be the case before the pandemic. Right now, the gender issues that come into play, that have to be compromised a little bit. It's not that boys don't do this kind of work or girls don't do that kind of work. Look at all the things that need to be done in a day, distribute the work so that no one feels overburdened. These are some ways to go about it. Then, of course, look after yourself and be presentable for your partner. The fact that you are home at earlier, we used to dress up and we go out, isn't it? We used to dress up for others, as it were. Now also, do not be whole day in your pajamas. Be presentable for your partner. Have a time of day when you really groom yourself, when you have a cup of tea together, when it's like a mini outing in itself. And of course, go for small outings when there are no curfews around, no, obeying proper social distancing and the protections that we are advised, maybe in a sanitized car, or somehow make a way, maybe a walk, a romantic walk. So schedule all of these activities that help you let out steam, and with the intention that you won't let the pandemic get the better of you. Chart out ways, schedule your time, divide the work, and you should be good.
Absolutely, ma'am. Those are really, really some very, very good advices. I'm going to use some of them actually to my benefit right now, and I'm going to really dress up. That's the one.
It's very much needed.
I'm
Yes.
going to do that, and I'm sure my husband is going to say thank you to you later on.
Oh, wow.
In
Yeah.
we have Kanchan Karwal. So she has a question. Due to pandemic, some couples are experiencing increased anxiety, which has the capacity to shape and strain a relationship. What are your views on it, ma'am?
Well, the anxiety factor is there. We cannot escape from it. And now it has been escalated because we are in the same environment, faced with the same people, with no release and outlets. So now what to do about the anxiety? Firstly, when the anxiety attack occurs, when the fight, for example, one person is in anxiety and it has, become a big deal. It has already started or started a fight between the couple. Then you can have a system in place like a timeout. You can have an understanding that when either of us, gets all angry and upset and frustrated and starts screaming, shouting, or showing any sense of any kind of anxiety, we have an understanding that at 30 minutes or at 20 minutes of such an outburst, we are going to take a time out for 10 minutes. Okay, this is a very helpful tip, and it has been used on many couples to great effect. So how to control a fight? When you're in the heat of the fight, nothing else works except for leaving the arena where the fight is happening, leaving the battleground, right? And who will leave? Now, who will admit defeat? Nobody will admit defeat. Nobody will say, okay, I'm wrong and you are right. That much of magnanimity or large-heartedness is not there. So what you do is have an understanding previously that when we get into a fight, whosoever's fault it is, no matter, we are both aware that we are shouting and screaming at each other. Let us have a timeout at 30 minutes, not carry it beyond 30 minutes. Then we go away for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, fix the time according to your, according to your suitability. And then we will resume the matter. When you come back to discuss the matter, you will be surprised to see that so much calming down effect has already, happened, so much of perspective has already been gained because you have gone out in the heat of the battle and you had time to reprocess them from a different angle. You have time to think about it from your partner's point of view. Now, when you come back, you'll come back much more calmer. So I would suggest, please use this one technique first, the timeout. And of course, in preparation for such outbursts and attacks, please include the mindfulness technique where you are aware of what you are thinking, what you are saying, what you are doing. Don't be mindlessly imagining things that can contribute to fights. Don't be mindlessly speaking things which have no relation to your wellness, which you should not be doing. So don't be mindless, be mindful. Develop the meditation practice, become calmer person generally, and during the fight, take the time out.
Ma'am, you have received quite many compliments from Mr. Hari Iyengar. He says, excellent. Varnika said, great advice. And
thank you, Mr. Iyengar. I'm really happy that I'm able to provide some, meaningful input, and it's really encouraging to have your comments. Thank you.
Absolutely. And ma'am, I'm sure our audience and all the viewers, they will have future questions. And if they have future questions, they can always get in touch with you. And at least I have taken a lot of things to take with me to my house to practice. Majorly, I feel it's about staying happy, staying calm, staying mindful, using our me time to de-stress ourselves, do some yoga or whatever de-stresses us, and just enjoying the fact that we are disease free, we are alive. God has given us this one more day to live with our family. I think that really matters, because we chose our spouses for a certain reason, and we should be thankful that amongst such a difficult time like pandemic, the corona and everything, our spouses are healthy, we are healthy, our family is healthy. I think that is something that we can all take away with us. And plus, again, viewers, I'd like you to get in touch with Mrs. Atifa Deshmukhia about your other relationship questions that you have. For now, I Sukalpa Das, I'm really grateful that you have been watching this from Fit Northeast. And before I sign off, ma'am, would you like to give us any more suggestions that will be helpful for the future, and also how they can get in touch with you?
Okay, so I'd like to first thank all the viewers who are with us today, and I see Jasmine Chankakoti also here with us. And yeah, so many useful questions have been brought up, which I'm sure will be of help to people looking for answers. For more answers and more one-to-ones, dealing with your own particular queries, you can get in touch with me. Who I am, I'd just like to point out that I have done my coaching in relationship coaching. I've done my certification from Symbiosis Institute USA, and so I'm a certified relationship coach with the ICF, that is the International Coach Federation. So I hope I'll be able to provide helpful inputs to you for your one-on-one questions. You can contact me on my phone number or through Fit Northeast. You can note my phone number, which is 700-520-5100. That's my official number. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming to our platform. And thank you, everybody. Signing off, I'm Sukalpa from Fit Northeast.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.